When I came to the church, I came here with 3 problems. And the main one was the immigration problem that I was going through, which I was fighting for to get my indefinite stay in the country. But at the same time, I had to send for my daughter Sandy because she was living with my mom, and my mom was getting old, can't look after her anymore.
I used to sit down, I used to watch things that I wasn't meant to watch my age. I used to hear a lot of negativity from my dad, saying that I wasn't his child, saying that I was ugly. So growing up hearing these things, I started building up like a hatred against men. It's not because a lot of men hurt me, but because of the things that my dad used to do. I think I used to see him being at my brother. I used to hear how much he used to be at my mom. So I thought, why should I respect men? It's the only man in my life doesn't deserve my respect, so why should I go on respecting men? And on the other side, I also had a split personality. So I used to lie about where I live. I used to say I live in a certain place. It got to the point that I would take a bus to that place and then take a bus back to where I used to live just for my friends to think that I live in that certain place. So my life was a lie because I didn't have a perfect life. I didn't have a life that was good. So I thought, okay, let me just lie about the life that I want. And this was carrying on for a very, very, very long time. And to the point that I got involved with another guy. And I didn't really like him. But as you know, I got involved with him because I wanted the attention and because I just wanted to just use him and just forget about him. He didn't take it nicely. He started to watch where I was going. He started to watch my movements and everything like that. But when I actually found out that he had his friends coming to the place I was going just to watch me, just to plan that he's gonna kill me, say he's gonna stab me, he told me everything he was gonna do to me, I was literally scared. I was shaking. At that same time, I was coming to the church that my mom invited me to, but I wasn't taking it seriously. I was in and out, because I thought, I'm too young to take God seriously. I wanna have fun, I wanna enjoy my life.
But while she was here, I noticed that Sandy wasn't taking it serious. She didn't like the church. Although I didn't know the problem that Sandy was going through, I could tell her something wasn't right.
So when the guy told me that he was gonna kill me, it was like, God was the first person I thought about. He was the first person that came to my mind. I got on my knees and I started praying. I was like, God, if you allow me to overcome this situation right now, I will give my life to you. And that was my prayer on that day. And then from that day, I started coming to the services regularly.
Since she's been attending the youth group, I realized that she's taking it more seriously. And she's been, doing things in the youth group, helping the youth group, evangelizing, doing things. She feels more happy. And I found out that I didn't have to be forcing Sandy to come to church anymore.
Eventually, problems started solving. My immigration problem was solved. I didn't have suicidal thoughts anymore. I didn't cry myself to sleep anymore. I started showing to God that, God, you know what? I know what you've done in my life. I see the changes that you've done through me. So now it's for me to live my life for you.
One day she said to me, Mom, I've been called to raise an assistant. And she's been here since doing God's work, and both of us together in the church, and we are going all the way to the end.
So I gave my life to God. I live my life every day for God, and now everything has completely changed. I work in a nursery, doing what I love doing, teaching kids. Me and my mom, we don't argue, we don't complain. Me and my dad, we get on all the time. I don't need boys to make me happy. My life is completely transformed because one day I took that decision that I needed God, and God fulfilled everything else in my life. So that's how my life changed, and I'm very grateful.
Good evening and welcome to Finding Answers. Tonight's topic is going through life alone. And is that your case? Are you going through life alone? Do you feel as though no one is there around you to support you, to take care of you? And maybe you do literally have people around you. You have friends, you have family members, but still you feel alone. What do you do when no one can connect with you, when you feel that no one understands you? Well, if you do feel that way, tonight's program is set to help you, all right? And we have a guest on who, through her young life, and she's still young, she has overcome the feeling of being alone through things that happened to her as a young girl. You're going to find out more about her later on. Let's have a look at tonight's video to explain more about the program.
Do you feel like you're meant to be alone? Do you find it impossible to connect and find that special someone? Or maybe you have a few friendships at all. It could be due to shyness or feeling awkward in social situations. Did you once have friends and associates, but now they have moved on and you find yourself alone? Or maybe there has been a big life event or a change. People who are often alone can feel socially invisible for much of their lives. The psychologist Harry Harlow wanted to prove wrong the hypothesis that the only connection between a child and a caregiver was based on food and safety. From his studies, he concluded that it is a basic need to have contact with others. No matter how independent and strong-willed you may be, everyone will eventually have a longing to be with others and to be comforted. It has little to do with food, but a basic human need. It may be that your pride gets in the way of admitting that you no longer want to be alone. Seeking the comfort of others does not make you weak. But on the other hand, it could be that you spend your time surrounded by people, but you feel lonelier than ever. Carl Jung once said, "Loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you." So, whichever the reason, you don't need to go through life alone.
You don't have to go through life feeling alone, all right? That's my advice to you, but maybe you can't actually connect with that. Maybe you do feel alone, as in the video it said. Lots of people around you. Maybe your home is open to everyone who comes in and out, and you're there to help everyone, but then you still feel alone. You still feel as though no one is there for you. No one understands what you are going through. And maybe you have a heart of gold. Maybe you help others. You have love to give. You care for anyone and everyone, but yet you still feel alone. You wish someone could just take care of you. And if you feel you don't have that someone, then I have good news for you. There is someone who can help you. You're going to find out on this program later on. Now with me tonight, once again, is Victoria. How are you doing, Victoria?
Very well, thanks.
Any information on this subject?
Well, I was thinking of loneliness and where it really stems from. So I did some research and found that the psychologist John Bowlby states that attachment is a deep and enduring emotional bond that connects one person with another. And often to have self-fulfillment in life, this is based on your bonds during childhood to a caregiver. So this doesn't necessarily mean when I say caregiver, a biological mother or father. It could be a foster family or aunt or uncle. But people who've not experienced attachment, who have inconsistent attachments during childhood, may grow up feeling isolated, alone, and with a sense that their needs haven't actually been met. They may also grow up believing that they don't deserve to be loved, and then find it difficult to get close to other people. So feeling like you're not going through life, or feeling like you're going through life alone, encourages you to feel something called learned helplessness, and also difficulty managing your own emotions. And then with an unloving upbringing, some people may grow up to be lonely adults. So it really can stem from your childhood, but also experiences like bullying and having your trust broken can then lead to people just always feeling lonely.
Yeah, and loneliness can affect anyone at any age, whether you are young up to, seniors, right? Old age pensioners who feel, vulnerable. They've lost all their family, they've lost their loved ones, and they have no one to connect with. If you are young, if you're middle-aged, or if you are old, though you don't like to be called old, but you know what I'm saying, and you feel as though I'm alone, I have no one to connect with, I would like to speak to someone about what I'm going through. There's that saying, a problem shared is a problem halved. So if you want to give us a call, someone will be on the other end of this line now, numbers on your screen, and you can speak to that person and just talk about what you're going through. Why not? Why don't you share with someone how you're feeling? Make a friend on this phone line right now. The number's on your screen. It's 0207 686 6300. If you would like a prayer even, and prayer does work, it helps. In a majority of cases dealing with loneliness, it does actually help. People, after a prayer, they feel uplifted. Their mood changes. It's like the room is a lot brighter after the prayer. A lot of people have said this when they've had this feeling of doom and gloom and loneliness. So if you do feel that way and you're in your home now, then do give us a call, all right? If you would like to contact us through Facebook or email or Twitter, then over to Victoria with the details.
You can send us an email. Our email address is help@findinganswers.tv, or talk to us on social media. You can send us a tweet. Just start your tweet with @FindAnswersTV, or search for us on Facebook. Just search for Finding Answers.
There you have it. We're going to go for a break now. And when we come back, we're going to meet our guest for this evening. We'll see you after this.
I get motivated to kickstart life again. That motivation that just pushes me for the rest of the week. So it's like a boost.
It gave me that hope. You know, it gave me something to look forward to.
I felt welcomed. The environment it's hard to explain, but I felt at peace. It's home.
Sometimes, in order for you to get to the place that you want to be, it's important just to take that little step.
They didn't judge me from what background I came from. I felt like I belonged.
One of the greatest things is, you know, you get to meet new people. Maybe, hopefully, I might get to see you there.
Make it, do it, makes us harder, better, faster, stronger.
My Channel TV, featuring a kaleidoscopic daily dose of programming. Stay with us every day and explore politics, economics, science, technology, lifestyle, culture, sports, and much more. We're here to amuse you, to keep you updated, and to keep you company. We're My Channel, your channel on Sky 203.
Welcome back to Finding Answers. Tonight's topic is going through life alone. And if you are going through life alone and you would like someone to talk to, the number's on your screen. And give us a call at any time during the program. You don't need to be live on air. If you want to speak to someone, there is someone there with a listening ear. Now, let's meet our guest for tonight. Her name is Joyce Rogers.
It's pushing me for the rest of the week. So it's like a boost.
Things were really tight.
Today, the way I see myself is completely different.
Hi Joyce, welcome to the program. Now it's your first time on, but you're not nervous?
No, I'm not.
No? Okay, good. So you'll be able to express yourself very well.
Yes, I should.
Now you went through life alone in your early years, right?
Yes, I did.
And obviously that must have affected you quite a lot, which we're going to find out in a bit. So tell us a bit about your background.
So basically, I didn't grow up in this country. I grew up in Sierra Leone, and as a child, my mum came over to London quite well as I was at a young age, And I was left with my grandmother who raised us up, and I grew up in quite a strict family home. So I didn't only just grow up with my grandmother, but I also had to live with my aunt at one point. And then at another different time in my life also, I had to live with my aunt's friends. So literally I grew up in life moving from house to house. And eventually, years later, I think I came to London when I was about 7 or 8 years old. My mum requested for me to come over here to live with her. And even when I came here, I came here with a family friend, and I didn't live with my mum as I came to London, no. I lived with my aunt for about actually all of my primary school years. And I lived under my aunt's roof.
So the fact that you weren't with your mum was hard in itself, right?
Yes, it was.
You missed her a lot?
I wouldn't say that I missed her a lot. I didn't really know her because I grew up without her, really. I grew up going from one house to another, one home to another, so I didn't really know her. So when I did eventually come to be in her household, I didn't have any bond or relationship with her at all.
But what did you think? You know, I'm sure you must have heard your friends at school talking about their relationship with their mothers. And then didn't you think, well, what was that like? That's a bit strange. No, I don't have that relationship with my mum. Did you ever think that?
Yeah, I think I never had that relationship with my mum, and for a long time it was very difficult for me to build a relationship with her. And especially being at home with her in a household, I was the child that looked after my siblings at a young age, so I grew up with a lot of responsibility as well.
Were you the oldest child?
Yes, I was the oldest child. So through doing that as well, I didn't really get a chance to make that bond. I saw, for example, my brothers, her being more closer to my brothers than myself. And I grew up feeling very, very isolated, rejected and on my own. And that had a lot of consequences in terms of the way I grew up.
So tell us about that. How did it affect you?
So basically when I grew up, because I didn't really have much of a relationship with my mum at all, I grew up I felt rejected myself. So it's like I rejected everyone around myself. It's like I kind of built up a wall around my life where I thought, right, if everyone's rejected me, if no one really cares, then I am gonna go through this life on my own, and actually I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna be independent. I'm gonna make sure that I achieve this and I achieve that. So I had goals built up for myself that I wanted to achieve.
So that's a different way of looking at it, because what maybe most people would do is, I'm rejected, so I'm not gonna be as you said you would be. They would rather kind of not do anything in life, kind of, you know, feel down in the dumps, feel sorry for themselves, probably go out and get into drugs or sleep around, or, you know, they just didn't care about life. But you were the opposite.
Yeah. I don't think I had that. I didn't have that I would say chance to go in that direction. The main thing that I had in my mindset was that no one cares about me, and I'm not going to allow anyone else to hurt me in my life. I'm not going to allow anyone to inflict what I've already been through in my life, and that's why I kind of shut the doors around.
But you didn't go through anything serious as such. You weren't, you know, you weren't abused or anything like that. It was just
I actually was abused as a child, but I don't
physically abused.
Well, no, sexually abused as a child, but that I don't think that had. I don't think that had the greatest impact on me. I think more the feeling of rejection and being isolated.
Right.
I think that was probably what had the most effect on me in my life.
So as you said, you put up this barrier, and you wouldn't allow anyone in, and you were kind of headstrong.
Yes, I was.
So tell us, what type of things did you do?
Well, I didn't really do anything negative. I was very focused actually as a child, because I grew up in a very disciplined home. I was always, even when I went to university, my mum gave me this prep talk about you need to go there and be serious. I don't want you getting off with guys and doing different things. You need to be serious and you need to take your education serious. So because I grew up already very responsible as an individual from a very young age, I didn't have that mentality of, oh, I need to start doing this or I need to start doing, I wanted to do things right. I wanted to achieve, basically. I wanted to prove to myself that I can do it, and I did. Yeah.
So you were focused now on what you want to achieve. Did you find it hard? I mean, there are people that would want to be like that. But in your case, you had your past.
Yeah.
Now, did your past ever creep up on you every now and again?
Yeah.
So for example, were you away from university?
Yes, I definitely didn't want to stay at home for university. I didn't want to be in my house because I didn't think that I would have achieved as much as I would have in my house because I had so much responsibility at home.
Did you like your own company?
Yes, I did actually. Yeah, my own company was probably the best for me. Yeah.
Right, but even then, with all that happened in your younger years, did it ever, as I said, did it ever creep up on you? For example, I don't know, you used to feel really low when it came to evening times. You're away from home, but then this feeling, this sadness, this emptiness would come over you?
I wouldn't feel low, but what I did have was a big lack in self-esteem. I'd never believed in myself. I never thought that I could achieve anything. But even though I didn't have that self-belief or that confidence, I still pushed myself because I wanted to do well for myself. I didn't want to depend on anyone, and I think that's where the strong-headedness that I had to conquer to achieve actually came from.
What was it about yourself that you didn't believe in? Was it?
I didn't believe in anything about myself. I didn't believe that I could even get through university. I went and did a degree course and I didn't think that I would pass that. I didn't think that I would really achieve much in my life because there was never anyone there in my life to kind of encourage me to say, oh no, well done, you did this. There was never anyone. I kind of picked myself up as I went along through life. So yeah, that's it.
Okay. So with that, did you actually get through university?
Yes, I did. I got through university, but I think I got through university based on the background that I had with my mum. Because, for example, although I wasn't really close to her, the one thing that I did learn from my mum was if I ever had any problems or any issues in my life, that I need to pray, that I need to turn to God.
Before we go into that, I just want to ask you this regarding attention seeking. You were an attention seeker.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, because I never got attention in life, because I was always brushed aside, because no one ever really encouraged me, it's like I craved that attention from people. Like I said, I grew up very responsible, so therefore, I never really had that love from my family. I never really had that. So inside of me, there was still a part of me that was unfulfilled. So I would seek, yeah.
How did you kind of try and get attention from others?
By just always trying to be the best, actually. That was one of the main things, to always be at the top of my game. So I would always try and be the best in whatever I did. So that's why I always pushed myself to be able to achieve certain things.
Was this in work, in studies? Was this in relationship?
Mainly in my studies, but attention seeking also from people as well.
Were you the loud one?
No, I was never loud. I was very quiet. Yes, I was very quiet in school. I was never loud. I was very isolated. I was very on my own. And like you said before, I enjoyed my own company, so I was never like that.
Well, when you got the attention, you said really working hard, putting your head down, concentrating, focused. Did you get any praise? Did you get compliments? And if you did, how did you feel?
I very rarely, yes. I think my mum was probably the main one that would compliment me in terms of my studies wise, that I made it, that I achieved it. But although I achieved that, and although I got compliments, it didn't really fill me inside. I was still empty. I still felt lonely. I still felt rejected. It didn't make a difference to my life. It didn't improve all of those lonely periods that I had in my life at all.
Now, what would that do to you? As you said, you felt lonely, you felt isolated and rejected. Would you have those nights where you would, you cry? Did you ever have anything like that?
I was very emotional as an individual, very emotional. Any little thing would get to me. So if someone said anything negative towards me, it would get to me. It would really put me down. So I wasn't really much of an outward person, but I kept a lot of things inside of myself. So I might not have revealed it whilst I was in the presence of people, but in myself I was very emotional. I was very, very down, very tearful inside of myself.
So you had this tough exterior, right? You kind of told yourself, you know what, I'm going to make it, I'm going to try hard. But within you, as you said, you still had these issues, right? You were quite fragile.
Yes, I was.
Right. So maybe you are like Joyce. Right now, you have this tough exterior. You pretend that you are someone, but the truth is you're not that person. It's just a front to get by in life, in front of your peers, in front of family, in front of friends, colleagues. But you are this fragile, weak person. And you don't want to be that way. You want to be normal. Maybe it's something that's taken place in your life, in your past. And normally, if you're a regular viewer to this program, you know that everything has a root. Everything stems back to our past, our childhood, how we grew up, situations that took place in our lives. They form and shape us. And maybe that situation or your upbringing, or whatever it is, has shaped you, molded you into who you are today, which is this lonely, isolated person. And you don't want to feel that way. Though maybe you're so busy with things. If you are a parent, you're doing the run-of-the-mill every day, children to school, you're always busy. You try, even you know that if there's a time that you're alone, you know you're going to break down. So you keep yourself busy to take your mind off things. But you can't always do that. There's going to be a time when you are alone and your memories, your thoughts are going to come back to you. Reality is going to kick in. And then that's when you break down. If you want help, then you know what to do. The number's on the screen. Give us a call because someone will be there to help you. When we come back, we're going to have our street interviews. We're going to find out how Joyce changed her life around. We'll see you after this.
Steering killer drones. Aircraft missiles won't reach Syria for several months. Fighter jets to be outside.
As a man, I understand the struggles men like me go through. They need to be strong always and not to show any weakness, even though it's there. To be a leader to our family, to our wife and kids, when we really wish someone else would show us the way. To choose what is right in a world of wrongs. To admit to our mistakes when our egos don't want us to be exposed. To learn to be a man when we're still only a boy inside. Being a man is not easy. But hard is also a part of being a man. We don't like anything easy. We want challenges. We want to prove that we can do it. That we are bigger than the problems staring us in the face. That's why we go to the moon, we climb the Everest, we sail around the world, and build fast cars. We like the feeling of accomplishment. And please don't ever tell us it can't be done. We will die trying. Being a man is not easy, but we wouldn't have it any other way. And yet, the true conquest of a man is not measured by his money, power, or fame. His greatest achievement is to overcome himself.
Welcome back to Finding Answers. Tonight our topic is going through life alone. So let's go to the streets of London to see what the general public have to say on this topic.
Definitely depression is probably number one.
They're arguing and they're talking negatively about each other.
What is more valuable than another? And so
you can have as many friends and families as you want. It just depends.
Is a common regret, like, oh, like I should have like asked that person out, or like.
Hi, I'm Chika here on the streets of London for Finding Answers. Tonight's topic is going through life alone. We all know that life is a journey, but what can help us be guided through? I'm going to find out from the general public. Let's see what they say. Life is a journey. What would you say guides you through?
Family holding you down and just taking every day as it comes, really, and see what was about, really.
Probably my family and friends and their actions, and they sort of guide me with my actions.
I think we all have a kind of a set of morals we live to. I mean, whether or not some people call it religion, some people just call it like a moral upbringing, what their parents may have taught them, well, maybe they showed them a way or not the way. Who knows? But I think it's what guides me is just being good to my fellow man, I guess. You know what I mean? I'm a father. I got a couple of kids, so it's. I want to impress on them obviously the right values and to go forward so they can be as good as me, so, perhaps, better than me, of course.
I think like the courage to keep on going, even though like at the moment life is not good, but always have the courage to keep on going forward, because it really is a journey that goes up and down.
Some interesting comments there from people on the streets of London. Now, let's head back to Joyce and how her life changed. And remember, if you are going through anything that Joyce went through, you're going through it now, pay attention because she's going to reveal to you how she is today. So Joyce, you are no longer this lonely, isolated person.
No, I'm not.
You've dealt with these issues,
yes,
right, that you've gone through, you've had before. And tell us, how did you find help?
So actually I was invited to the church twice actually. The first time I was invited, I was in university and I didn't really make much of an effort to follow it up. But the second time I was invited, it was actually when I got a job here in London. And I was invited and I looked actually at the testimonies that
Who invited you?
It was one of the helpers in the help centre that was just giving out some leaflets on the street. So she invited you in? Yeah, she gave me a leaflet on the street actually after I finished doing some shopping. So I took that leaflet on that day. I took it home and I read it. But when I read it, I didn't. The information about how people's lives had changed, I really didn't believe anything about it. I thought this is a load of rubbish, and I actually just put it to the side for a long period of time.
Really?
So
what was there? What were the type of stories on that leaflet?
I can't remember the exact story, but I remember reading it and thinking it was so far-fetched. And I thought, no, this is not real. These people are lying. So I just put it to the side, to be honest, and I didn't think anything about it.
It's too good to be true.
Yes, exactly. So I didn't really look at it again. But later on, it took months actually before I came to the church. So later on, I actually decided that I'm going to go because I personally wanted to know God more for myself.
So did you keep that leaflet?
Yeah, that leaflet was kept on a cupboard somewhere alongside another leaflet, because I was invited to another church on that same day. So I had those 2 flyers with me for however length of period of time that I had those 2 flyers with me in my house. But I remember there was a specific day where I decided that no, I'm gonna go. And
Which one would you go to? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo?
No, it wasn't really like that. Actually, I decided to take both leaflets with me on that day, and I decided that I was gonna go to a church. I was gonna go to the service, and that was it. So whichever one was open and that the service was running, I was gonna go.
Right.
And actually, I came to the church where the lady was giving out the flyers on the street first, and actually the service had finished. So I thought, great, okay, if it's finished, I'm going to a church today, because that's what I decided in myself. But they kind of persuaded me to stay, and so that's how I really came.
So you took part in that church meeting. What happened next?
I remember after being part of the meeting, it was very new. Everything was very odd and strange to me. I'd never been in such an environment like that in my life. But I remember that after I left on that day, I felt like a big load had been lifted off my shoulder.
Really?
I'd never felt such at peace in my life, apart from on that first that I walked in and I walked out.
What was it? Was it the preaching? Was it someone prayed for you? Was it someone to talk to? What was this load that
I think,
left you?
well, I just felt, I didn't realise that I felt heavy when I went in, but I know that when I came out of that meeting that I felt light. Yeah.
Okay. Can you remember what you heard?
I can't remember exactly what I heard, but I remember on that day they were doing specific prayers about each and every area of our lives. They were going from our relationships to our families, our inner selves, etc., our health. And they were doing the prayer in relation to that. But I remember that when I came out of there, I really, really never felt so light as I did. Yeah.
For a long time. Now, did you decide to come back?
Yes. So after that, because of how light I felt after the meeting, I decided that I was going to keep coming. So I kept coming, and I kept coming quite frequently. I think I probably kept coming every day with every opportunity that I had to come back.
And did you eventually speak to someone?
It took a long time. It took a long time for me to open up, because I was a very closed person. I didn't want to speak to people. People would approach me very friendly, come and say, "Hi, how are you?" And I'll be like, "I don't know you. Why are you so happy, and why are you approaching me like this?" So it took a very long time for me to open up. But
so though you felt light on your first visit, there still wasn't a connection there.
No.
You know, you just felt good. You decided, I'm going to come back. But all these positive people, you know, friendly people around you, you still like, who are you?
Yeah.
You're still kind of closed.
Yes, I was. And I was still very much defensive. And I still had the traits of what I had before I came. Because I'd already been through a lot. I was still having walls up around me. I didn't trust people. I didn't want to open up to people. I'd already gone through life being very independent and learning to resolve problems on my own. So I didn't really understand their approach towards me, because I was so close and I wasn't used to that kind of approach.
Some people actually say, you know what, I'm not going to share my business with anyone. I'm not going to tell people what I'm going through. I don't have to. But it's what you had to do, right? By you talking to someone and eventually kind of breaking down those walls, the barriers that you built up, it helped you, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
How did that kind of breakthrough happen?
Well, after coming for a period of time to the church, I did start to open up, and actually it was the best thing that I could do for myself, because the moment that I started to open up was the moment that I actually started to receive the help that I needed. The moment that I started to speak to people, then I started to offload some of the burden that I'd been carrying inside of myself, and then that's when I started to change, and there was many things going on in the church at the time, and one of the main things that really helped me was a group in the church, which is basically for ladies to value themselves a lot better, to become more open, to become more stronger version of themselves, and that really helped me a lot.
What was the connection? Because some people would talk about their problems and kind of cry and feel emotional. Did you do that as you opened up?
I was still very tough. It took a very long time for me to completely open up. It wasn't overnight, it took a very long time.
In terms of kind of speaking about your problems, to kind of finding that strength to kind of take action, to see change in your life. How was that? How long a period was that? And what did you do to kind of see change happen in your life?
Okay, so for me, it took a decision, to be quite honest with you. It took a decision for me to say, I don't want my life to go in this direction anymore. So therefore, I'm going to do what I need to do to be able to change. So if it meant opening up, if it meant putting into practice what I was being taught, then that was what I was going to do. And the moment that I did start to open up, the moment that I did start to put into practice what I was being taught, and even to be more open with people, to seek friendships, you know, all of these different things, that advices that they gave me, the moment that I started to put that into practice, that's when the tough exterior started to break down.
So you started making kind of new friends, right? And it wasn't a sign, you open up wasn't a sign of weakness. It was a sign of, I would say, strength, right? And maybe you're thinking, you know what, if I do talk to people about my business, my problems, you know what, I'm gonna feel weak. It's gonna feel as though I'm weak, but in actual fact, it's not that. That's not the case. You are showing a sign of strength, right? That you are able to talk about what you're going through and deal with those issues, those hidden feelings that have been hiding there, lurking there for such a long time. But when you do that, you will feel a lot stronger. And I'm sure, Joyce, that's how you felt a lot stronger, didn't you?
I did, and actually it was a strength, because what I understood later on was that the more you keep it in, you're not doing yourself any benefit. You just stay with the same old problems, going through the same old things. Although it might seem difficult to make that first step, to approach someone, to speak to them, but that is part of the freedom process. That is part of the process of actually letting go and becoming a new person within yourself.
Are you lonely today?
No, I'm not at all. No.
How is Joyce today?
Today, I'm a much happier person. I'm growing in myself. I'm learning to value myself a lot. I'm a lot more positive natured than where I used to be. I'm learning to love myself a lot more than where I was before. I have a better relationship with my mum and my siblings now. Which is something that I didn't have at all before. I didn't get along with them at all, but now I have a lot better relationships with them. I'm much more approachable, and yeah, I'm a lot better.
And what are you doing in life now? What's your career?
So right now I'm a nurse.
Right.
Yeah.
Love the job?
I do love it, yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for coming and sharing your story with us.
No problem.
Now, if you have connected with anything that Joyce has said, maybe you have your own problems and you want help, then after the break, as usual, near the end of the program, we will have the prayer. And prayer does work. Joyce found out that, you know, actually after her first day, she said she felt a big load off of her. Maybe you're alone. You do feel alone. You are alone. You're going through your issues, there is a big weight on your shoulders. That weight can be lifted up after this prayer. If you want, you may not be a religious person, as a lot of people say, but we're not giving to you a religion. We're giving to you a solution to your problems. And it can start tonight with this prayer. Imagine if this weight, this loneliness, was removed after this prayer. What would you do? Are we giving to your religion? Definitely not. But a solution to your problems. If you want more, stay tuned, because we'll be back for the prayer.
Hi, the Chrissy B Show airs live on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, coming to your homes with entertainment, life issues as well as hard-hitting topics, coupled with friendly and practical advice. I love to look at the happier side of life and believe a person can achieve amazing things when they put their mind to it. The Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life.
Introducing the Love Therapy website. Love therapy can help you find true love and show couples how to enjoy happiness through a successful relationship. So why not click on the Love Therapy website for dynamic, interesting and useful tips on love. You can watch inspirational videos from happy couples sharing their experiences of maintaining relationship strength and find out when the love therapy meetings are. If you're looking forward to a first date, then the Love Therapy website has 5 tips for that all-important first date. And why not sign up for the Love Therapy newsletter to receive the latest news and events postings? All you need at your fingertips. The Love Therapy website.
Welcome back to Finding Answers. We are having people who are calling up requesting a prayer. So Cheryl from yesterday, I will be praying for you. Raymond, who called today during the program, I will be praying for you. No matter your problem, there is a solution. All right? Now, if you are feeling alone, if you are depressed, if you are feeling as though, you know what, I want to take my own life, but I can't. Something's stopping me. You don't have to go to the extreme of ending your life. You don't have to isolate yourself as Joyce did. In actual fact, you can live life, and life to the fullest. But it will take one thing. And what we do on this program is, at the end, we do go for a prayer. And prayer can do certain things. You know, when you're lonely, we feel alone, you can't take this thing. It's not something tangible, something physical that you can take a pill and the loneliness goes away. It's a spiritual thing. It's there. It's right inside of you. But prayer hits the target. You know, those adverts when it talks about a headache. And they do those diagrams, right? You take that tablet and then it goes to the bloodstream and it hits where the pain is. And then, you know, after a fast action relief, everything goes. That's what the prayer does to this feeling of loneliness, this isolation, this feeling of depression, the suicidal thoughts that you might be having. If you are feeling low, the prayer is like that pill, straight. It attacks at the source. And I want to pray for you now. If you feel as though I need something, I've tried everything, but I've never tried prayer, then I want to pray for you. You don't have to be alone. Let's go for the prayer now.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like us to make a prayer concerning your family and loved ones, send your name and prayer request to help@findinganswers.tv.
My God, I pray in the name of Jesus Christ, your Son, who is able to help everyone. You don't judge us out because of our appearance. You don't pick and choose who you bless, but you answer the prayer of people who are sincere, who come to you for help. And I pray that this prayer will reach people like Raymond, who called in, people like Cheryl, who emailed us. And it's like they've come to the end of the road and no one has helped them. But that's when you step in. And that's when you show that you are God. So my Lord, I pray for anyone else who maybe they didn't have the courage to call in. Maybe they have watched this program, but tears running down their face. They feel as though no one can help them. I ask you to step in now. Step into this person's life, my God. Just give them a sign. And I say to you, listener, viewer, allow God, let Him come into your life. Let Him do something marvelous, as He did to Joyce. Her life changed, even though barriers, she put up barriers, she put up a front, but she was all alone. She felt despair. She felt as though I have to continue, but she was still hurting inside. God, I ask you, touch this viewer, touch this person, my God, who maybe doesn't even have the strength to close their eyes. I ask you to bless this water, and when they will drink it, my God, remove this loneliness, remove this weight, remove this feeling, this burden. If they've been depressed, if they can't sleep at night, they are suffering insomnia, let this water, my Lord, go straight to the source of their hurt and pain, and remove this problem, my God. And when they'll drink this water and agree with me, Lord, let them feel light. Let them see a difference in their body. In the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, I determine this water blessed now. Drink it, and may God's presence change you right now. In Jesus' name. Wonderful. I believe that God is touching you, Raymond. God is touching you, Cheryl, and everyone else who joined in this prayer tonight. I want to leave you one thing. God says in the Bible, I am with you. And He said that a number of times. I am with you when you are with Him. So, throw down the barriers, right? Put down your guard and allow God to do His work in your life. Turn to Him. Speak to Him now. when this program goes off air, talk to him. He can relieve your pain. He can help you. Though you may have lots of people around you, but you will not feel alone inside of you. All right? Remember what he said, I am with you. But first, for him to be with you, be with him. Connect with him tonight in your own personal prayer. Doesn't have to be any beautiful words, just words that are sincere. All right? Until the next time, have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.